We're live in LA, day 2, and I can't believe it. Superstar guests, and it continues. And I'm so excited to have a gold medalist face to face. I never thought when I started in radio and television I'd get to Jeneba Tarmoh. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you so much. My pleasure.
I'm just honored, and it's amazing. And since we started talking, when we first did the first interview, things have just been picking up for you like crazy. I mean, and what I wanted to talk to you about today was specifically some of the experiences you're having with the media because at first after London, you took a little break, and then it seems like you just picked everything up.
Yes,
right?
Definitely. I'm fairly new when it comes to media, so from January, I just was thrown out there, and it's a learning process. I can definitely say that, but I love being in front of the camera, and I love talking to people.
And that's why you're here. And you came from, but let's talk first about the ESPN experience. Was that a magazine, or was that a TV interview?
I've had both, a TV interview and a magazine.
Let's talk about the TV interview first of all. Was that nerve-wracking at first to be interviewed by such a big situation and saying, I'm going to go talk about this? Who interviewed you with ESPN?
Oh, I forgot his name. But he was a really, really nice guy. And it was definitely nerve-wracking. I don't think I've ever been in a situation like that where I can just sit in front of ESPN and just tell the world about Jeneba. So it was definitely nerve-wracking, and I wanted to be politically correct and as proper as possible. So it was a learning experience. I can definitely say that.
And then where did that air on ESPN? What show did they do that? For the news?
Sports Center,
Sports Center? And this is how long after the gold medal was that?
I think it was before the gold medal.
It was before the gold medal.
Yeah, it was before the gold medal.
Okay. Yeah. And so you were excited, saying it was my opportunity, things like that, and then you're like, wow. And then also you did get interviewed by ESPN, the magazine.
Yes.
How long ago was that?
That was January. Maybe
okay,
January, yeah. ESPNW Women's, and they just wanted to know a little bit more about Jeneba.
And so tell us specifically some of the things you were talking about in that interview.
Oh, they asked me questions about how I started running track, my childhood, about being from my parents being from West Africa and me growing up in a West African home in San Jose, California, and just how track is, what I've been doing lately, how I was able to overcome the runoff situation, how am I personally, am I a friendly person, what do I think of myself, just ask me so much about myself. So it seems like you were
more trained then for the ESPN magazine than you were when you went on ESPN before the Olympics.
Yeah.
It seems like you have the right people coaching you in ways.
Oh, yes, I was definitely more trained.
So did they come to perspective questions, or did they kind of ask you in the interview like a personal, when the magazine came, did they just come to did you meet somewhere, or did they do a phoner with you to get all that information? Or?
It was a phone interview, yes.
And did they give you perspective questions beforehand where they were set up, or was it more about they came up with them?
They gave me some perspective questions, but obviously they're not always going to tell you exactly what they ask you, including depending on how you answer.
What's going to happen in the magazine, right?
Yes, so depending on how you answer, they normally change the question up and whatnot, but it was pretty straightforward what they told me that they were going to ask, and I answered those questions, and it was really fun. I loved it.
And once the magazine got out, how many copies did you try to get to your friends or different people saying, I can't believe I'm in a magazine now?
Well, since it's a new day and age, I just try to post it on Twitter and Facebook.
Didn't your family want to have a copy, or did you get a copy of it for yourself?
I didn't actually get a copy. Because it's on the internet, so I just printed it out and.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But was it in a physical magazine as well, or was it for the internet, the ESPN?
It was on the internet, yeah.
Oh, they don't even have a magazine anymore, ESPN?
ESPNW, I think they do, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it didn't ask in the print, but you did print it out. And
I definitely printed it out. I didn't try to get the whole magazine.
How did it happen? Did any of your fans get to read it, or people that saw it, and what did they think of it when they told you about hearing about your story more?
People that read it, they just said, oh, we just love your personality, you're a sweet person, and they just started to know me a little bit more.
And how about your friends when they got to see it?
They were just like, whatever. We already know Jeneba.
Really?
We know that she's a sweet person.
Were they impressed by it, or saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe ESPN interviewed you, or not?
Well, yeah, they were definitely impressed. They were just like, wow, she is doing some big things now, and she's too good for us. But they were really impressed, and they were really proud of me.
And so in that perspective, did they ask you about 2016? at all in the ESPN Women's?
Oh, always. They always ask me about 2016.
What do you think your chances are?
Oh, I think my chances are great. I think it's going to be a great year.
I hope so. And that's a shout out to GJ to make sure he gets me to Rio to cover it. And it was very interesting. So basically the magazine, what did it, I guess it taught you specifically that this is who I am. I want people to know, especially with the challenges that you went through and getting a gold medal.
Yes.
Because it's a different story. So you hope you get 3 to 4 gold medals in 2016 so you can say to yourself, okay, now that's passed.
Yes.
I can think about other things.
It's definitely a challenge, and I just really want people to know me outside of track and field. I'm more than just an athlete. I'm a person. So I think it was a good way for people to get to know me personally.
And I think that's so important. And it's so much easier to interview in person because you're such a bubbly person, very, very nice, humble.
Thank you so
willing
much.
to really answer questions well, and you're happy to be here.
Yes.
Because there's some people who are like, oh, I'm doing an interview and all this, but you're not like that.
Oh.
So that's fantastic. So any other big interviews would say, ESPN, the magazine, did you do any other interesting ones with ESPMW? What other ones would you say?
I've done one with Yahoo Sports. I think, it was Yahoo Sports, and then there's Boss Magazine as well. So I've done 2 other big ones, I think.
So with Yahoo, was there any difference from ESPN questions to Yahoo?
It was no different at all. It was pretty much just trying to show, get a different, what's the word?
Perspective of you?
Not a different crowd. Different crowd.
So what did your publicist say or people say about the difference between ESPNW and Yahoo?
Well, they just wanted me to not just be in the sports world, because ESPN is just sports. When they hear ESPN, they're like, okay, right. Sports. Yahoo, they think of the search engine, they think of so many other things. Right. They just wanted me to get out of just the sports world and into a bigger world.
A bigger world.
A bigger world.
A bigger world. And which one was the most impressive, Yahoo or ESPN?
I have not read the Yahoo one yet.
When did that come out?
It's supposed to come out this month.
Oh, you heard it first, Yahoo.
It's supposed to, but we'll see. So where's it going to end up in the internet for the Yahoo article? Is it going to be in what section? The sports, or is it in the entertainment section? What do you know what's going to happen? You don't know that. I have no idea.
So when you heard Yahoo coming through, you're like, oh, all right, I like this because I want people to know me not just in the sports
Yes.
world.
When I heard Yahoo, I was like, I am big time now.
Well, I'm hearing you're big time from Tiffany, and I'm saying that's great. And she says she's such a fantastic person. And shout out to Tiffany for giving me this opportunity to interview
she's
again.
Great.
And she's
Great.
fantastic. And she's really had some interesting people for me, so that's great. Let's go from, you were talking about that experience. What was the other magazine you said? What was
Boss Magazine.
What's Boss Magazine?
It's a magazine that just talks about or empowers women, pretty much. And they just wanted to know a little bit more about Jeneba.
Well, and all about the same, but telling a different audience.
Yeah, just a different audience, more women, and just getting myself out there into empowering women more.
And I think it's important because you went through a tough time in your life at certain times, but also a tough time in the Olympics, because you could, at the trials, you could just say, this is just awful.
Yeah.
And how I was treated in certain ways. You want to say, hey, you can overcome these things and have the opportunity to be a gold medalist.
Yeah.
And then you can't just, when you fall down, say it.
You can never do that. I think you can overcome any situation that hits you really hard. You just got to be really persistent and dedicated to overcoming that situation.
And I think that's so important. So any other interesting projects? Because guess what? You're going to be on the hot seat growing up as a child in our next segment. I've been doing that with so many celebrities. And this will the questions maybe no one's asked you, because I remember our interviews, and that's pretty good. After interviewing over probably 150 to 200 people since our last interviews, that I remember that. I won't be when I'm 50 or 60, but at least at 40 I can have that in memory. So tell me, any other projects going on right now that Jeneba can tell us? Because again, that's not, sometimes you can't say those things. Anything else going on with you?
I have some other projects going on, but I don't want to jinx it.
Oh, you can't say anything yet.
Yes, I just can't say anything because I just want it to happen so badly.
Anything else notable to announce right now?
Apart from me trying to start off my foundation for Sierra Leone and educating kids back in West Africa, I think that's pretty much the only notable thing that I do.
So how's it going? since the last time we talked?
Oh, it's going really well. I've actually got the foundation set, so I'm
Great.
going to set the paperwork in and get the account ready and just get everything moving.
So I need to somehow, you need to get sponsorship, get me out to Africa, and I can be involved and help you in the whole education thing, as I want to, because I'm interested in the whole education portion of that whole situation. Because
Yes, definitely.
The education's so important about us being an international show. I think it's fantastic. So I'm sure you're very excited about that. So that's another big thing you can say.
It's a huge thing. I just love the fact that I'll be able to educate people.
Are you going to get any other celebrities involved in it when you go out to Africa that are going to help you with this process?
Definitely. I always want to get people involved, not even just celebrities, but just people who are willing to help other people, other kids get educated.
Right, exactly. And that's so important.
Yes,
And education
yes.
seems so important. But you can't tell us anything else. We're going to have to wait to find out those things with Jeneba. So when you were doing the paperwork and all that, I'm sure you were like, it's nerve-wracking. Please let this happen, because
scary.
you can't get anything going till it happens.
It's so scary, and I have to really sit down and think about it. Like, is this what I'm going to do? And I had to make sure that all my I's are dotted and my T's are crossed, because I do not want this to fall apart at all. So
And it's not. So when is the launch going to be? Do you have an idea of when you're going to be getting started in the fundraising, doing maybe a fundraiser, things like that? When are you looking?
I want to start doing the fundraiser in my off season. So probably September, October.
Okay.
And I'm going to I want to raise the money before I...
So you're going to do a lot of stuff in LA as a type of maybe red carpet event, or a certain type of, what are you looking to do in that end? Do you have any ideas how the different ways of raising the money?
Yes, I have a lot of ideas.
You can't tell me.
Well, I can tell you two of them. It's going to be really low key. I want to start off in the Bay Area, where I'm from.
Oh, San Francisco?
In San Jose.
San Jose, okay.
And then I just wanted a whole bunch of the Sierra Leonean community to come together and donate some money and probably do a little bit of charity. And then I'll come to LA and probably try to have a big fundraiser.
Will I be invited to it?
You would definitely be invited. You can have your own table.
Hopefully my wife can finally come, because it'll be great, and we can interview whoever you invite, the who's who that comes to it. Because I think it's such a fantastic thing. But we forgot to ask before we run out of time, how have you been doing with some of your events since you've been training? Have you done any other track events since the last time we talked?
I've last time we spoke.
The one in New York.
New York.
What happened?
Oh, New York was great. I tied my PR. It wasn't. I didn't run as fast as I wanted to, but then you can never complain, because the way I've been training is just so hard. It's not really made for me.
Being a professional athlete's more about being at the event and still doing well.
Doing well, yes.
But it's not like being number one on that.
It's about being patient. That's what it is.
So let me give you an example real quickly. So let's say I go to this event. I'm going to compete with others, right? Mm-hmm. And there's prize money for the winners, right?
Yes, definitely.
But it's not as big a deal as the trials or something else. It's more about just keep on improving.
It is definitely more about keeping.
So if you place fourth, you're not upset.
No, I'm usually not the kind of person who gets upset depending on where I place. I get upset depending on what time I run. If I place fourth and I don't run
What did you
fast,
place in New York?
I place second.
Okay, we'll take that. And who was first?
Her name is English Gardner.
And was she an Olympian with you? Or?
She was not an Olympian, but she is an upcoming Olympian. She's a really talented athlete, still in college.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes,
so
very
she's going to be
talented.
on your team, hopefully.
Yes.
If it continues, all right. So, okay, when we get back, more with Jeneba Tarmoh, and I can't wait to ask her the questions when she was growing up in a really interesting way. So we'll be back in just a moment. We're back live from LA. The marathon continues. And I decided to have Jeneba on for another segment, and now she's in the hot seat like a lot of my other celebrities.
Yes.
And the interesting thing is childhood. We did talk a little bit about it, but very. So I'm going to go right to the beginning. You grew up where again?
San Jose, California.
So in school, in elementary school and stuff, you were in San Jose.
Yes.
Okay, so what kind of child would you say? Were you a shy child, 5 years old, or were you a very outgoing child?
I was a different child. Growing up, I was very, very quiet. very shy, and sometimes there were even times that the teacher had to talk to my parents or my mom and say, what's wrong with your daughter? Is she depressed? What's going on here? Because I was just too quiet for them, not like the normal child. As I started to get older and I started to run track, that's when the shyness kind of started to fade away a little bit more, and I became a little bit more outgoing.
So you were shy.
I was very quiet. My family was worried about me.
So how many siblings did you have with you?
I had 2 sisters,
Okay.
but then I grew up with my cousins as well. They're pretty much my brothers and my sisters.
Okay.
So I can safely say that it was about 5-6 kids in the house the whole time. It was fun. I loved it.
So were you the quiet one, or you the middle one that tried to always appease everyone?
I was the one who was feisty. Although I was very quiet and shy, I was always fighting my older cousin. He's 2 years older than me, way bigger than me, but I would always fight him, literally box him and jump on him. So I was a really feisty child.
What about in school? Were you a pleaser in school, or did you act up a bit, or especially talk about 3rd, 4th grade? Because that's when truly the shell comes out. When girls are very pleasing, kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, then 3rd and 4th we get a little bit of feistiness. Would you say you were a quiet one, or were you one of those chatty girls in class?
I think I was the quiet but deadly ones. My mom told me that I got expelled from kindergarten. Yes, what child gets expelled from kindergarten? Me, like a weirdo. And then
what did your mom do when she found out you were acting up in kindergarten?
I don't think there's much she could do but get mad and then put me in another school. She just keeps on telling me that I was a bad child. Well, I was bad in school, and I always got expelled or suspended or in trouble for saying.
What about in 3rd and 4th grade?
3rd and 4th grade. Well, when I went to Africa and I came back, I was really, really quiet, and that was after kindergarten. So from 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, I was really quiet, and I didn't say much.
So you were in Africa just when 1, 2, and 3?
I was in Africa for 1 year. I did 1st grade in Africa, but I came back to America, and my mom wanted me to do 1st grade all over again. So I did 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
So when did it become the kind of behavior problem in the classroom? So how many of your teachers that are watching this interview now would say, we remember Jeneba?
I think all my teachers will remember me. I was only really bad in kindergarten.
Ever since you were good, and so you were aiming to please after that?
After that, I wasn't necessarily aiming to please. I was just quiet. I just didn't want
to.
In the background, yeah.
Would you consider yourself a hardworking student?
Yeah, I was a very hardworking student, and sometimes it frustrated me because I worked so hard and I struggled with learning. So I'd work so hard and I just didn't see the reward.
Tell me what the struggling and learning is, because then we'll get to later into the whole college thing. So when you were struggling with learning, what was the reason? Focus or the class environment? What was it that made you struggle with learning at that time?
I have no idea. I was just in there, and I'd sit down and I'd try to understand what the teacher was saying, but it just would not stick. And it was just a struggle every day for me. It was so hard. Would you say
that your teachers were good, or do you think it was a good system you were in school-wise?
Yeah, my teachers were definitely good. They were really good. They tried. I had a teacher pick me up at 7 o'clock in the morning, take me to reading classes every day. I had another teacher stay with me.
So that's why you're so important about education, that you want to help in Africa, is because you had little difficulties in education
I
you want to
definitely had
bring back,
difficulties.
but then you overcame them, which we'll get to. But I don't know if you were surprised me interviewing about this, but I think it's great because someone that not many people could ever say they had a gold medal, and we hope you have more. And to tell kids out there, you keep trying, because school didn't come easily for me.
Oh no, it didn't come easy at all. It was really hard.
I mean, I know we went on to college and all these different things, but when did finally you start? Was it a struggle in middle school as well for you?
It's always been a struggle. I think it became a little bit easier when I was in college, which is really weird, but I was majoring in psychology, and it was something that I liked.
I have a story of the same thing. I didn't enjoy school at all. I had a 3.2 GPA, but then when I went to college, I just said, I love this. But before that, when I studied stuff I enjoyed.
Yes.
But when I had to study things that I did well, but I didn't really care about it.
Yes.
It's not something I said, okay, I'm going to be a teacher. That was not even in the cards. So in high school, so you always asked for that extra help. You worked really hard, but you had to work extra hard compared to your friends.
I had to work extra hard. I was in homework center. I've been in homework center, homework tutorial, everything.
Have you ever told this story to anybody else before?
No, actually. But my whole school career, I've doing homework centers after school, from elementary, middle,
This
high.
could be a great message part with the whole thing with Africa, talking about how education is so important because you had to struggle.
Yeah.
And you don't want kids to struggle, but you had that situation, but you overcame it. So to get into college, would you think that was track a help to get into school, or could you have gotten a school on your own merits? What were like you struggled, but yet you did well, meaning you passed and you did decent grades, but you had to work so much harder.
Yes, definitely. Even without track, I would have gotten into college. I had a 3.2 GPA in high school,
But you just had to work so hard.
I had to work really, really
And
hard.
you had other friends that just like that, right?
It wasn't my friends, it was my sister. My sister was so smart.
No. So
She was a 4.2 GPA student.
honors classes, all that stuff.
She was just so smart, and I just envied her. And she was my younger sister at that. So it's like I'm envying my younger sister for being really, really
So when you were going through the homework help types of things and things like that, did you say, well, I know I have to do this and grades are important to me? Who was it? Your family that made it so it was important? Were you competing with your sister, saying I have to still do well? Were you always a competitor?
I never really competed with my sister when it came to academics, because I was just like, she has it and I don't. I'm just going to do my own thing. But it was always my mom and my sister who were on me. You had to try harder. You had to do better. If I got a C on the test, you had to get an A. If I got an A on the test, you have to get an A+. So it was always that you have to do better in my family.
Interesting. So Jeneba's telling us secrets of how school wasn't as easy for you.
Oh,
and
definitely.
then what would you say in college? When did the light bulb come on that finally, I'm focusing more? Do you think once you became really competitive in sports, that made you more competitive in academics and even a harder worker that you wanted to excel?
It definitely did make me a harder worker, but I think what made me a harder worker was that I knew that I wanted to be a psychologist. And once I decided what my major was going to be, I started taking all these psychology courses: abnormal psychology, developmental psychology, cognitive psychology.
Which I think we talked about in our first interview. Absolutely.
And I just wanted to learn those things so much more, which made me want to study and made me want to understand it and diagnose people.
So what frustrated you in high school? What would you say about learning? What was it, just a situation that didn't interest you, or it was not like your favorite thing? What was your least favorite subject in school? That's a good question.
That is a really good question. I love learning. I can definitely say that.
Yeah.
My least favorite topic, though, I'd probably say math.
Math.
Yes.
Okay. And a lot of people would say math.
Yes.
And what do you think the reason was? Because the teachers didn't explain things exactly the way you wanted it. You wanted it step by step, right?
I think I just needed it to be a little bit slower.
Exactly. That's what everyone learns in a different way and different things. But I think what we're seeing is that even drawing in your school experience, it goes back to how you never gave up, even with the trial situation. So you see how your whole life you were a fighter. That led to nothing came easy, and even the gold medal didn't come easy for you.
Definitely.
Does you see that story and how you're shaping things, and now you're going to help others through that?
Definitely.
I think that's fantastic. Who was your favorite teacher of all time?
Oh, I've
Do you
had
remember?
so many.
Oh, I see that. That's another one to say. Oh, Jeneba.
Yes. My second grade teacher, her name is Miss Matheson. I've been looking for her on Facebook. I cannot find her.
Some teachers don't like me on Facebook.
I know. And then my sixth grade teacher, her name is Miss Warner.
And did you end up connecting with her?
I connected with her, and on Facebook every now and then I'll write her a message. But I just love all my teachers. They were all so great. They were so helpful to me.
Did you ever want to be a teacher?
Yes, I did want to be a teacher. I actually still do kind of want to be a teacher. My major when I was a freshman was education.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I changed it to psychology.
And now, in the whole psychology thing, as I remembered our first interview, you want to utilize that in Africa as well. So, do you want to practice it ever as a psychologist? Do you want to do that, or just because the brand's becoming this? At one point in time, you might.
I'm so torn between the two. I still want to be a teacher, but I still want to be a psychologist. And
Do you want to coach at all ever?
no.
Ever? You don't want to be a coach?
No.
How about a mentor for some track stars?
Probably not. If you need advice, I'll give you advice, but I would not want that to be my job.
But so you enjoy teaching, so that's the surprise that you don't want to do that. No. Your coaches in track, would you say that they were very inspirational to you to move out? Yeah.
Definitely, yes, all of them.
So what would make you not want to be a coach? What is the thing that, is it just because you want to be, are you too much of a perfectionist in a way? Or do you think it's just something just you want to be more people than just one person?
It's just not my thing.
It's not your
It's just not my thing.
So teaching, what would you want to teach
I've
them?
always wanted to be a first and second grade teacher because Miss Matheson inspired me so much. She was such a good help.
Do you know that one of the Miss Americas from ended up becoming a teacher afterwards?
Really?
Yeah, she was a teacher, then came back and was a teacher. So it doesn't matter. You could be a celebrity and then go back and be a teacher. But you could teach millions instead of just a classroom. So if your whole cause and your foundation could be your opportunity to teach. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Yes, definitely. I would love to teach. If I can teach in Sierra Leone, I would teach those kids.
Right. Well, so let's talk about that. Do you want, when your foundation's going, you're going to visit a lot, do you want to be involved where you get to do some teaching as well?
Oh yeah, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a principal. I want to be everything to those kids, just so that they can be educated and they have what I felt like I had.
And the class sizes are just absolutely too large in that area, because I've heard of other schools in Africa where there are 50, 60 kids in a classroom.
Some of them are really large, and then sometimes they're not that many, because kids can't afford to go to school.
Oh, because there's not free public education.
You got to pay.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
And that has to make your heart broken.
Yes, it definitely hurts. I hear family members calling my mom all the time, hey, I need my school fees to get paid. And it's not even that expensive. It's $33 for us. $33.
Oh my gosh.
And they get educated. So it's not that expensive at all, but they
what
can't
happens if
afford
they're not educated? They're going to end up either very in huge poverty and never getting out, or dying, right, for making the wrong decisions.
Pretty much, yeah. Yes.
So that's where I see the passion lying. And I already believe you would be a book definitely has to be in the place at one point as well. You have such an unbelievable story. Once we start drawing more out about Jeneba, you show your fighting attitude, your ability. I'm never going to give up. Mm-hmm. School, I had a little bit of difficulties, which is great you say this, because it gives so many little girls out there saying, I'm struggling with my math, or I'm struggling with my reading and I have to work extra hard. Will it ever pay off? Here you go.
It definitely paid off.
It will
definitely paid off.
And now you can take all that information and help others in so many ways and be an advocate for education as well. Mm-hmm. And do you visit the schools in LA ever? Do you get the opportunity to do that yet?
I visited Culver City High, but I haven't visited any elementary schools.
I think they would just love you.
Thank you.
That'll be something I have to tell Tiffany, that they're just going to you bring your gold medal. They'll just be all, which you forgot today. You bring your gold medal, and they'll just be just awesome because you're very easy to talk to.
Thank you.
And I think that's such an important thing. So where can we find more information on Jeneba, become a fan of Jeneba, and also learn, do we have any information on the foundation yet? Is the website ready yet, or is it just more still going to the Twitter to find out what's going on?
Yes, best way to get in touch with me or find out more about me is Facebook, Twitter, and I'm trying to get a web page soon. So when I get that up, then hope you can
It's
find
all
me
in
there.
development. I was talking to a publicist yesterday, and they're saying, you got to redesign your website. And,
Really? Yes.
So it's just it's a constant. I have a website, but you got to always be on it. And you got to always be on it
Keep
because
updating
people are going to say, who's Jeneba Tarmoh? Somebody who didn't know you, they look you up and say, I can't really find a lot of information. So it's so important to always be on that World Wide Web, because that's the first place they look for it.
Yes.
And they say, well, let's check out things. Well, now they can find this YouTube interview with you. So thanks again for coming by.
Thank you so much for having
again,
me.
your Twitter again is?
Jeneba Sylvia.
Yeah, and go check that out.
Yes.
And she tweets up a storm, and we find out all the cool things about her, and soon the website. And I can't wait to hear a lot about what's going on with you after that. So thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, you're listening to the Total Education Celebrity Show, and also Total Education with Neil, and we'll be back in just a moment.